Good morning, good morning. My name is Rick Noda. I am the founder of T3 Body and your host for T3 Talks. I'm here in beautiful Encinitas, California. Doc Sexton invited me back. Oh my God. All righty, you guys. Well, hey, today, we're building and Doc off of things that we've experienced in the past. What's kind of nice is, as a nurse and a doctor, the brotherhood and the camaraderie that, again, I thank you so much for. I want to give back to our YouTubers and here in our podcast.
Oh, exactly.
And when we were putting together topics and what to discuss, you really, in a way, touch right at the heart of what my practice and your practice talks about, which is inflammation, what we talked about in the LAD podcast, but what causes inflammation, the why. And I talk a lot of times about stress. And again, a little bit of a story about me and you guys. And when Doc met me, he met me in a really interesting place. That's the word I'm going to use, interesting place. Because those of you guys have watched my other podcasts have seen how I suffered from what I talk about, my bipolar manic episodes. Doc used to love sometimes when I would come in here and kind of go things off, but you could see it in his face that it was like, oh my God, machine guns are happening like this, Well, to me, I would often say, Doc would tell me like, are you stressed? I go, no, dude, I'm just accomplishing the mission. Well, I never thought of that as stress. So rewind a little bit. I'm in the subprime market. I'm selling to Bears and Stern. I'm literally drinking a fifth of vodka every night just to kind of calm myself down. I've got my kids in Montessori school, which is about 15 grand a month. All right. I've got 4 properties that are going on. 2 people aren't paying me their rent. So I'm paying that rent there for me. I'm racing around the country elite as an Ironman athlete, driving around, and I'm making about 40 or 50 grand a month, which is beautiful. I've got investments. I got all this stuff, but I'm literally using exercise to manage my stress. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you've ever been an endurance athlete and you go on an 8-hour ride on a bike, and that's a true story, that was like every other day, it still wasn't enough. Like, it's an 8-hour bike ride at an X amount of watts. I could get all endurance on you, but I'm not. But again, I'd come home and then I'd do push-ups and I'd do this, or then I would get up.
And you probably didn't even recognize what you were trying to escape with that exercise. I mean, you've always been the adrenaline junkie and you've always been able to do these great kinds of things. But I see patients every day where we're talking about this. And if I'm first meeting them, I'll meet CEOs, CFOs of companies and things like this. And I'll say, so tell me about your stress is usually one of the last review questions that I might ask them.
Yep.
And usually the answer I get is, I can handle it.
Exactly.
And I say, no. That's the stuff you tell your stockholders. That's the stuff you tell your board members.
Yep.
I'm the guy you tell, you know what? I'm still the best at my job. I can handle all that stress. But if you're cutting me off as I'm getting on the freeway going home, you better get the hell out of the way because I'm going to run your ass over if you don't do it. Because I am that pissed off from all of the people I've been dealing with, all the paperwork that's been getting in my way,
Exactly.
all of this stuff that crowds the stuff that I'm really in this for. I feel this. And it takes a lot to get that kind of information out of people because they just don't notice what is beating them down out of it. And
Agreed.
You've always had these great ways of recovering it when you understand what it is that's going on.
And that's the root, and that's understanding, and that's the first thing. And I'll be honest with you, and I'm looking at the camera directly because there's not a lot of doctors that are going to ask those questions. There's a lot of doctors that are just going to say, here you go, and move on. And that's why we're different. That's why, again, it's important. But here's what Doc did for me. He literally sat down, and you guys know my resume. I'm a fuck you hard guy. Yes, I'm a Marine. I've done Ironman. I've done all of this. These hands have literally strangled one of my best friends. No, just being funny. And Doc had the courage to say, hey, dude, you need to slow it down and be in the present. And what did I do? I walked out like, oh, dude, I'm great. And then slowly, week by week, you really showed me on how to have more balance. Now, what's beautiful about that is that exercise really helped me with some of that, have it be the good or bad. But I like to go and refer to over the trends over the years and what is exercise and how it's evolved and typical to my generation, Generation X.
Remember for me one extra thing as you're talking about it, because when you came to me and we were looking at that kind of stress, one of the things that we did besides the exercise, and I'll touch on that too.
Yeah.
One of the extra things that we did was we took a look at the work that we were doing and we isolated the parts of it that we loved.
Yes.
We took the things that we were actually in this for, and you and I made connections with patients on a daily basis, and we found them at the pit of whatever they were feeling. And we saw them start to feel better. We saw that they had an epiphany. A light bulb turns on.
Yep.
And when we saw that, we said, okay, all of that BS where we're dealing with insurance companies, all that BS where we're trying to get new patients to come in and see us, all of that stress of trying to make things work, there was a reason for it. There was a
Yep.
purpose behind that
Yep.
stuff. And to find that stuff, it's going to be different for each of you guys, what it is for your career. You know, we've all seen Office Space and those movies where people just freaking hate their jobs. And I think if I were doing something like that, I'd probably be feeling that same way too. But if there is something in there that you're loving, try and find that on an everyday basis.
Yep.
and recapture it. And we found the opportunity together with a lot of patients to be a source of meaningful change for them. And that in turn made a meaningful change for us. You know,
Yep.
whenever we lose track of that stuff, it just becomes a rut of going through the motions. And we also, in our practice, because physical fitness was so important to us, we diverged that into an extra portion of our practice where we used to have the exercise groups outside.
Right out in the back
We
door.
were doing incredible things with the patients where we weren't just seeing them in the office, but hey, come visit with us after our clinic hours, and it'll be an unofficial thing where we are just trying to get some of these things done. And we got to see people improve and got to see them smile after they were sweating. It was a great way to see a change
Yep.
being made in there. And again, that reflected both in our physical fitness, but in our emotional quality
Yeah.
of life. And so if you can find a way to merge those kinds of things for yourself, that might be the way to get that kind of relief that you got from that work stress.
And Doc, the cool thing about connection is, you know, it's funny that here, you know, we use technology to enhance what we're doing. But a lot of times, you know, when we're here, what I love about Doc and the way he did it is my job was to take the notes and the Doc was there to focus on you.
Mhm.
That's incredible because I'm not going to say the KP practice. The guy is literally sitting on the computer going, okay, da 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 da. Like, really, dude, are you really focusing on me or you're no? So the other thing that I think, Doc, which was important there too, which is great about that connection, is I think the minute the door closed, you and I could be in the present because we had the systems, we had the protocols, and we enjoyed what we were doing. And you're right, the people from Trader Joe's, the people from Carl Stroud's, the people from all these different places, they didn't say that, you know what, the doctor got us prescriptions. They didn't, you know what they said? They care. They connected with me on a different level. And that was one of the starting points to that. So that connection that we had was really the basis to what we were doing. Then the nice thing that Doc would do, you guys, is he would send the clients into the other room. Now, here's what I will say. A lot of times, you know, we talked about exercise, physiology, but 99% of the time, you guys, I was talking about stress. I was talking about, you know, I'm going to tell you, I've been married 26 years. And this weekend, you know what? I enjoyed my wife in a great way, but we got into 2 fights.
I don't know that I should hear about that.
Yeah, no, we got into, that was, no, but we got into 2, what I would consider arguments. But you know what's funny? After the arguments were done, or like the discussions that we had, you know, that was stressful, we ended up doing something to release some of that stress. We sat down, we relaxed, we read a book, but so many times you compartmentalize, you shove that down, you don't think it's a big deal, and then you go to work and get, just like you said, when someone cuts you off, you knock that person's head off. Now, in the room, I talk about, and in my practice, what is the definition or what we talk about the treatments for some of this stuff. T3 Body, you guys, is a company and a fitness company that really talks about the complete athlete. When I talk about our motivation inspires you to be better, all right, as a non-for-profit that supports military veterans that suffer from mental health issues, I really enjoy the support you guys are giving me here on YouTube. But again, I am seeking clients on my T3 Body. So if you go ahead and take a look at my website, understand that the intimacy of getting to know you starts with just 30 minutes motivation. So you go on there, you sign up for one of those, you get a one-on-one remote talk with me just like this.
then I encourage you to go and look at one of my training plans, download a 4 to 8 week training plan, and really kind of just test your body, test yourself, and just really start to get yourself ready to then do the next thing, is where you get 4 or 5 of your friends together and dare yourself to be better, where there you have a little bit more of my information along with my training plan. You get some remote sessions with me regardless of where you're at. You notice if you're watching me on YouTube right now, you could see you can hear my voice, and I can train you, all right? And that 45-day dare is a great way to just see and challenge yourself to really do the final thing, is become a member. Being a member with me is a commitment, and it's made for just an elite amount of people. So when I talk about membership here, I really talk about a really elite group of individuals who really understand our core values of God, country, family, and really live by and have really adopted where our motivation inspires them to be better. So I wanted to touch on that, you guys, and really use that so that individuals like yourself who are getting better and inspiring others that understand that, you know what, we do need your support to keep everything going.